So the goggles too are now compatible with the Mavic 3 Classic and the Mini 3 Pro, which is awesome. But there is one downside here, and that is that you need to use the motion controller too. I've been trying for 5 hours now, 6 hours maybe, to figure out a way of connecting these to the different drones here in order to take off and work and just, you know, be able to fly. But I haven't figured out a way to do that because I'm not allowed to. I have managed to connect all of the devices to the Mavic 3 Classic and the Mini 3 Pro, the motion controller and the DJI RC N1 controller and the RC controller, this one. But I haven't been able to take off. And I think that is extremely weird. It's kind of sad because it feels like DJI is forcing you to buy the motion controller too in order to experience, you know, using the FPV goggles with your high quality drone. It's, yeah, I don't know what to say, but there is one thing that tells me that this might be possible in the near future. So when I was connecting all these devices, let's say the DJI RC N1 controller, for example, I had that connected to the Mavic 3 Classic and I had my phone connected here and then plugged into the goggles, and the goggles was turned on, and I was able to see everything inside the goggles, get a full view of what the Mavic 3 Classic saw, and I was also able to control all the settings that I needed to control, and I saw that I could record in 4K 60 and 1080p 60, which is what you're limited to. And I was even able to control the gimbal tilt with the RC N1 controller and also change the flight modes from normal to cine to sport mode. The only thing I was not able to do was to take off. So this actually tells me that this might be possible in the future. I think it's pretty weird that DJI haven't enabled this already, because the RC N1 or the DJI RC controller has more features and better controls than the motion controller 2. I mean, the motion controller 2 can fly backwards, and that's probably the main reason why it's working with these drones, but the RC N1 and the other RC controllers can also fly backwards and from side to side without twisting your wrist. So I see no reason why this should not be possible in the future. But it is a little bit sad that it doesn't work with the motion controller 1 right away, because do you really need that backwards flying when you are flying your Mini 3 Pro? I mean, you're not mainly using the goggles and either of these drones with the motion controller 2 for cinematic purposes. I wouldn't, at least, but it's to get a different experience. It's to have more fun probably and actually get a more immersive flight with a higher quality drone than the Avata. But like I said, do you really need that backwards flying? I mean, it has sensors. That's one of the reasons it's compatible with the Mavic 3 series and the Mini 3 Pro only and not the Mini 3. It's because it has backwards and forward facing sensors. So when you're flying forward, the sensors will kick in and it will stop and hover or bypass. And that means when it stops, for instance, you can just turn your wrist and fly in a different direction away from that obstacle. So to me, having that backward flying is not really needed in order to have some fun with the motion controller 1 if you already have that. It feels like they are forcing you to buy the motion controller 2 in order to experience a true immersive flight with one of the best drones they offer. This is the best affordable drone they offer, the Mavic 3 Classic, and this is the best mini drone that they offer. So you kind of forced at this point to buy the motion controller 2, which I think is really strange. I won't do that because I really want to test this. If it works out perfectly fine, I can probably see a reason to use this for cinematic purposes, and it will actually, you know, in direct sunlight, it will give me a much nicer view of everything. But like I said, I need to test this first, and I'm not buying another expensive controller just to test this out. But from what I've seen, I think this might be possible in the future. It's only limited to what DJI allows us to do. So hopefully a lot of people are joining me on pushing this out to DJI, because I think this is what a lot of people would like to test, especially if they have the Avata and they have one of these drones. It's going to give you a whole different perspective and a whole different flight experience when using this. Now, this has been possible for years, but now that we have the OLED screen in the goggles too, and the high quality imagery coming from the Mavic 3 Classic, you know, it's going to be a whole different experience. The quality that you see in the goggles is definitely not going to be 5.1K, but it's going to be 1080p OLED, and you're going to have a much better experience. So yeah, I see no reason why this should not be possible. Let me know down in the comments below, do you think DJI should enable this as soon as possible so you can go out and experience that immersive FPV or a very slow and limited FPV drone experience? But I think it's going to be a lot of fun anyway. So with that said, that's going to be the end of this discussion and my opinion about this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are helping me pushing this out to DJI, because this is something that I personally really would love to have. We have been waiting for this forever, but once it's out, we're also limited to purchasing another motion controller, which I'm not really a fan of. So with that said, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.